Hi there, I'm Rhonni LaCroix, real estate agent here in Kitsap County, based out of Port Orchard, and today I have Meika Hall from Canopy Mortgage. I'm so excited you're here. We are going to be talking about down payment assistance programs. I feel like they're kind of known, but not really, and how it all works and how to find them and all the little nitty gritties. So I'm just going to have a conversation about that. So thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. So first off, I think this is a really broad question, but what is a down payment assistance program?
I think that's a great question. So the down payment assistance program is a program that Washington offers for individuals who would like to purchase a home, but maybe don't have the funds for the down payment for the loan program that they're looking to utilize.
Got it. And is it like a separate loan, or is it's all in one? How does that work with those funds that are being granted?
So the down payment assistance portion is a silent second to the first mortgage. So it's not a grant. It's not something that they give you and you get to keep. Again, it just sits there as a silent second to the first mortgage. So then what happens is when the individual refinances or sells the property or moves out, and that down payment assistance becomes due, they add that amount on to whatever that loan amount was.
Got it. So if you refinance or sell your home, you can pay off that.
Yep, it has to get paid off. Yep.
Got it. So are these programs, I'm sure other states have them. It's not just Washington, right? But for the sake of we live in Washington, we're doing it in Washington. So as far as these programs, is it only for first-time buyers? I feel like that may be a myth.
It is a myth.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
Okay.
So the down payment assistance program, Home Advantage, is for anybody, whether you're a first-time home buyer or not. There are a couple others that are specific to first-time home buyers. However, something to remember is you are considered a first-time home buyer if you have not owned a property in the last 3 years.
Got it. So what about, so you could essentially use this program multiple times?
Yeah.
You could? Okay.
Yeah, you just cannot have 2 down payment assistance loans at the same time.
Got it.
So basically though, like if you bought a home, let's say last year using down payment assistance, and you're like, you know what, I'm totally outgrowing this property. I would like to buy another one. Maybe there's only enough equity in that property to pay off the mortgage and then all the fees associated.
Right.
When that one closes out, we can simultaneously close another down payment assistance loan.
That's called being creative, my friend. So, and I have a little bit of questions here, so I'm just trying to kind of scroll down them. But what about some requirements? You know, what does your financial scope or whatever need to look like in order to get this? Because I feel like a lot of times people associate down payment assistance programs with, like, I don't know, there's a stereotype, right?
Yeah.
And there just is. So I'm just curious, what does the requirements look like? I mean, who is this loan program perfect for?
This loan program is perfect for, again, anyone looking to get into a home that maybe just doesn't have the funds and the means to do so without some assistance. So the only major requirements with this program is you have to take the Washington State Housing Finance Commission homebuyer course, which you can do online and it's free. There's also a self-paced option, which is $50 an individual. So you have to get that certificate. That's how we register the loan for down payment. And then if the home is not brand new construction, the consumer must also get a home inspection done.
Oh, okay. So if it's not new construction, then you have to get a home inspection. But if it's new construction, you're not required.
Right.
Learn something new every day.
Yep.
So cool. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about the program itself and how do they decide? I mean, obviously you get pre-approved, you figure out your budget is. How is it decided how much assistance you get?
That is a great question. So there's 3 different options based off of the total loan amount. You can either get 3%, 4%, or 5% towards your down payment. And it doesn't necessarily have to be for down payment though. Let's say an individual is like, well, I have my down payment, that's covered, but maybe we don't have enough to cover closing costs. It can also be used towards closing costs. So if we go, let's say, a conventional 3% program, but we get 5% in down payment assistance, that 2% we can help cover closing costs.
So we're pretty much getting you into a house for very little money.
Less than a new rental.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So let's see. We talked about a little bit, but this is like a kind of a second to the mortgage. But you're not making payments on it. It's just kind of sitting there waiting to be paid off when you sell or refi. What about the application process? You talked a little bit about the certificate, but is it different from just a regular mortgage application?
Nope. So you just fill out an online application or an application with a lender, just as you would if you were using a product where you had all of your own funds to cover everything. We pull that application, we work it up, we just, select our loan program based off of parameters that we're seeing from the application. Does the individual need an FHA loan? Do they qualify for a conventional loan? And from there, we just plug it in accordingly.
Because you can go both ways.
Yeah.
With down payment assistance, you can go FHA or conventional.
And VA.
And VA.
And USDA.
Okay, wait, so you told me about this the other day, and I was like a little bit too much in shock to even comprehend it, but you said something about piggybacking loans, and I was like, what? So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
This actually might be like another high-level video, but we're going to talk about it anyway.
Yeah. No, okay. I love that. I actually was just having a conversation with somebody yesterday who was in a situation 4 years ago where they had foreclosed on a property and VA. And she's like, I know it's going to be like 7 years before we can buy another house. And I was like, it's not though. Mm-hmm. We have a 2-year and then we do an entitlement worksheet. If you don't have full entitlement mm-hmm. and maybe you have to bring in $15,000, we can combine that with down payment assistance to get you the $15,000 that you need to come in to close that property.
You guys.
Yeah, really cool.
This is awesome. Yeah, because full entitlement can be, hey, maybe you lived at one duty station for a while, didn't want to sell that house, or maybe you, correct me if I'm wrong here, but maybe you did an assumable, so your eligibility or your entitlement is still relatively low compared to where you're going. You could definitely tap into a resource like that, right?
Yeah. Utilizing that bonus entitlement. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's amazing. Again, that's getting creative.
Or if, let's say you have a VA buyer and they're like, I really want this house, but we don't have money for closing costs. And maybe that home's been on the market for a day.
Right.
And it's competitive. Okay, well, here's what we can do. We can use down payment assistance to cover those closing costs. Mm-hmm. We don't have to then ask the seller for it.
Right.
To still be in that competitive realm.
Right. Because VA has its own advantages, and again, that's another video. But again, there are other zero down programs out there.
Yeah.
And I think people forget about it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think they think, oh well, I can maybe get a first time buyer program type thing where it's 3%, 5%. But no, there are programs, especially in Washington State. There is a program that you can buy zero down, and maybe even get additional to help you with your closing costs. And then maybe we get some can you get seller closing costs on top of down payment assistance?
Yep. So you're still, even with the down payment assistance, you still have to abide by the total allotted concessions that are allowed. So on FHA, you still get 6%.
Okay. Is it 6? Yeah. Why did I think 4?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
And then on your conventional product, because we're under 10% down, it's at 3%.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, we can combine all of that together to make magic happen.
And that's where the conversation, when people are sitting down with you to go over kind of their budget, is looking at situations. What makes sense? What price point are you looking at? Okay, what do your closing costs look like? And that's where you brainstorm and why it's so important to have a great lender.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I'm thinking, are there any restrictions when using the down payment assistance program? Like, I don't know, maybe what you buy or how you use your funds. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, so there are some restrictions, being you cannot make more than $180,000.
Like combined income or solo?
Combined. Yep. Sure. And then the other thing is, I think people have a misconception that you can't buy a condo or a duplex or a manufactured home with the program, and that's in fact not true. You can purchase any of those properties using this program. The duplex is relatively new. They just announced last year that we were able to start offering that with the program, where before it was not a thing.
So what would you tell someone that's like, oh my gosh, they're like watching this and they're like, sounds perfect for me. This is where I'm that person that this would be perfect for. But they don't think that they can do it. They don't think that they would qualify. And it usually comes across that usually to me means they're worried about their monthly payment.
Mhm.
They're also worried about their debt to income and their credit.
Yep.
So did we talk about that? What are
No.
kind of the minimums? Is that the right one? Minimum on having your credit score.
So this program no longer has a minimum required
What?
credit score.
That's new too.
They also do not have a capped debt to income ratio. So what we go off of is what's called our automated underwriting. So we take the application, we put in all of the information. We are collecting your documentation so that we can validate income. And, obviously we're going to go over, any good lender should be going over your debts with you to make sure that, hey, these are all accurate. No, that hasn't been paid off. From there, we'll then run our automated underwriting. Maybe you're at like a 52% debt to income ratio. And we get an approve eligible through our automated underwriting. Perfect. We can sail through. No problem, as long as we have that approve eligible.
So I would just say that to me means don't ever assume that you can't get approved. Like, don't ever assume. And maybe if you don't get approved right away through that underwriting, it's a simple thing as like, paying something off or working on your credit, whatever that looks like. So that's where, again, you team up with your, a great lender like Meika, and you come up with a plan.
Yeah, we build a roadmap.
A roadmap
to success.
I love that. Just a journey.
Yep.
What did I miss? I feel like I've done a few down payment assistance programs. I actually have a really cool story. I'm going to tell it really quick.
Yes.
So I had a client that he bought his first home with DPA, 0 down. We ended up getting seller credits. And he probably, I don't remember, it's been a while, but probably used some of his down payment assistance allotment to pay off some of those closing costs as well. Can't remember. Anyways, point of the story is he got into his house pretty much for just the cost of an inspection.
Yep.
And which is a few $100. So we just sold his house last year. He made $120,000 on it.
It's amazing. Oh, I love this program.
Yep. And then he and his fiance bought a banger in Bremerton, just a beautiful home in Bremerton. And at this point, he didn't have to utilize the DPA because he used funds from his sale.
Yeah.
But it literally got them into their new home and had a nest egg for whatever they need to do moving forward. So, that's the power of leveraging these types of programs. And I just feel like I don't see them as much as I used to. And it kind of makes me sad.
Yeah.
Because I think that it's a great tool for people.
I think it's an excellent tool. I think, it's all about leveraging and putting your money to work, right? And if we know that our equity is going to gain between 5 and 7% year over year, and you can get into a property with as little as a home inspection, right? A couple $100. Wow, look what just happened. Like you just compounded all of this equity and put yourself in such a phenomenal position to go buy your next home. And it doesn't have to be, that forever home. Get into that starter home with as little as no money down and then let that compound. And now we're taking that equity. We have our own down payment and we're putting it into that next property.
Could they have used their DPA? I don't know. Again, there's kind of this, it depends on your situation and everything, but I feel like it's a program that's not, I used to see it all the time, but now with the market kind of an even level, I feel like it's time to bring it back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. It's a competitive loan if it's pitched right. I feel like there's some myths surrounding it, just like VA. And so, if you have an agent and a lender that know what they're talking about, they know how to present it to the seller and the seller's agent, there's no disadvantage to using it.
No, absolutely not.
Not at all.
No.
So, what about rates?
Good question. So the rates are a little bit inflated compared to, your product if you were using your own down payment. And the reason why is because that interest rate is how they're funding this program. So if they didn't have a little bit higher rate, then they're not going to have the funds to fund that down payment assistance.
Totally. You can buy down though.
You can buy down. So, say you have leftover seller credit. Let's say we had $4,000 left over. We can take that $4,000 seller credit and buy that interest rate down even more.
Yeah, totally. Love that.
So many options.
There's just options.
So many fun things we can do.
That's what we want people to know, that they have options. But sometimes you just don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So let's just hope the right person finds this video.
Yeah. And I love too, like when clients come in and they're like, well, I have my own, like here's the amount of money I have, whatever. And it's like, okay, perfect. But then I still like to, especially first time home buyers, I still like to present the down payment assistance program. So I can say, hey, if you want to keep some money in your savings account, God knows what's going to happen. There's an emergency, you're a brand new homeowner, stuff might come up. Here's another program that we can use to keep some money in the bank. And, people tend to really love the idea of like, oh, so I don't have to completely deplete my savings to purchase this home and then feel panicked when my dishwasher goes out and I want a new one. Right. So just lots of cool things.
Right. And I feel like, too, the advantage to really having a down payment, a large down payment, honestly, is unless you're paying 20% or more, you're going to have mortgage insurance, unless you're VA. But, right? Because this isn't mortgage insurance. Yep. So is really the getting your costs down. And, because the lower the mortgage, the lower the payment. But, so, that's something to keep in mind is maybe just the monthly cost. But that's where it's like, hey, if you have the income to afford this home, but you don't have the cash to put forward, or you don't want to drain your savings, this is that option.
Yeah.
And again, with rental prices hiking, like, I guarantee it's very comparable.
Yeah, I agree. And then not only that, but any good lender that you work with is going to monitor rates, right? And are going to monitor your equity position and really make sure that there's eyes on that. So when it makes sense, we refinance that client out of the down payment assistance into, your regular FHA or conventional loan to drop that monthly payment.
Right. I feel like that's another video, but I feel like refinancing is something that as industry professionals, we mention a lot. Like, oh, well, you just date the rate, you can refinance later. I hate
what does that mean?
I know. Or we'll refi you out of that program into a new program. Just like before we wrap this up, can you briefly summarize what you mean by like refinancing out of the program?
Yeah.
And what that would look like?
Yeah. So when we refinance the client out of the program, right, we talked about how there's a silent second. So essentially we're going to pay off that loan. We're going to pay off the silent second. We're going to pay off the first mortgage. And we're going to put you in a brand new loan. So we typically are only going to do this if there's enough equity in the property to cover the cost to pay all of that out. You will, however, have closing costs again. So that's something that we also have to take into consideration.
But they could loop it into the new loan, right?
Yeah, so we can use the equity to cover all of those costs. It's going to get you, a better interest rate, which in turn is going to give you a lower monthly payment. Anything that's sitting in an escrow account already will get refunded back because we're going to start another escrow account. So things kind of wash itself out. Really great lenders like myself will waive closing cost in order to make it easier and a little bit more affordable. Or we can talk about, different ways to get the rate even lower. So again, essentially, we're just paying off that one loan to put you into a better product, lower interest rate, lower monthly payment.
Right. So that's kind of the refi in a nutshell. And I feel like this is a term that's just like thrown around, and I don't know if the consumer really gets it.
Yeah. What is that? What does it mean? How do I do it?
Okay, sounds great. But they don't really know what it is. So that's kind of that explanation, which it's funny because I really think, and I feel like DPA is like just such a perfect program for this market because, okay, cash out refi. It's hard for people. A lot of people that bought in the last few years, like they're not doing it because they don't have a lot of equity in their home, right?
Right.
Okay, so people that buy now, I guarantee in the next 3 to 5 years are going to be sitting on a huge chunk of money on their home. Okay, well, what do you have to do anyways? You're going to refi anyways to get your rate down. Okay, well, you're going to have the opportunity to pull money out of your house.
Yeah.
So maybe that's for, I don't know, remodeling. Maybe it's for going on a dream vacation. I don't know. Maybe you want to buy another house. Like, I don't know. Whatever that looks like.
Or maybe during these crazy times where we have inflated prices and, the cost of just doing anything is more expensive, we're utilizing credit cards more.
Paying down debt.
Yeah. So being able to pay down or pay off debt, maybe we have credit cards that are at 25 to 29% interest that are hard to chip away at. That's something else we look at is, okay, so your expenses out are this month, maybe your mortgage payment's going to go up just a little bit, but if you look at the bigger picture, you're now saving X amount of dollars every single month. So yeah, maybe it's, I want to remodel, or maybe it's, I need to pay off some debt, or, you know, I want to pull cash out, turn this property into a rental, use that cash to go buy another property.
Yes. I'm just saying that's how you invest in real estate, like creatively. You don't have to be like a millionaire, like shelling out 20, like all this cash to invest in real estate.
No.
There's ways to build wealth through real estate, and this program is, in my mind, one of the like best ways to do it at an entry level.
Absolutely.
standpoint.
The best starting point.
100%. Okay, so what did I miss? Is there anything else that you feel like we all should know? I feel like they're missing something, but
I don't know. I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, we talked about fees, we talked about requirements. I think at the end of the day, it's important how people can, you know, continue to find resources about it. How would you kind of steer people? I'm not going to use that word. How would you direct people? Oh God,
that's a better term.
They're coming at me with pitchforks. So, how would you direct people to find you to learn more about DPA?
To contact me directly is probably the best way. So via phone or email.
Which I'll put her info in down below or somewhere in the comments wherever this video is.
There we go. From there, I like to do more one-on-one educating of the program. I teach the program very often for that class that's required that you take. I'll be honest though, during that class, we are fire hosing information, and it's just so much better to have that one-on-one connection of like, okay, here's your specific scenario, because no two scenario is the same. And then we just have a conversation breaking it all down.
Right.
I think that's the best way, is have that one-on-one conversation.
I think so too. Okay, so I will put all the resources with Meika's information, like I said, in the comments, or wherever you find this video, there will be linked her information somewhere. And so go ahead and explore options. And if you have any questions about down payment assistance in Washington or even in other states, because you know lenders in other states, I know agents in other states, like we can connect you. So
absolutely.
If you have questions, let us know. And again, take advantage of creative opportunities like DPA. It's there for a reason.
Yep.
And
couldn't agree more.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
You're the best.
That was